Hello, everyone. Welcome to our brand new show, Reinvent with Accenture, the Consulting Mindset series. I'm your host, Zuili Patil. This show will give you a clear, deeper understanding into the world of consulting. In this five-part series, we are going to cover multiple topics, including what consultants really do, what makes a new age consultant, how the field is constantly evolving, how to make a great career in consulting, and much more. So, if you're looking for a practical intro into the field, you're in the right place. Today, we are going to kick off with the big question: what is consulting, really? With that, let me introduce you to our guest, Mr. Karan Raja, Principal Director. He's been with Accenture since 2012. Welcome to the show, Karan.
Thank you, Julie, and excited to kick off this series with you.
Awesome. So, let's keep it simple, right? Consider you're talking to someone who's just graduated and they're still trying to figure out their career path. How would you explain consulting to them?
This is one of my favorite questions. So when we talk about consulting, consulting in essence is very simple. When the clients are having big problems to solve, which they cannot solve it themselves, that's where consultants comes into play. One of the things is more and more problems are becoming multi-dimensional, which is the clients are actually having cost pressures, processes are broken, right? And the innovation has stagnated.
Okay. So at the crux, it sounds like it's really about guiding businesses, helping them solve their problems. And you spoke about these problems being multidimensional. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Absolutely. So let me give you an example of a bank. Now the customer is going to the bank, but the customer satisfaction is not great. The bank wants to solve for this problem. On the face of it, it looks very simple. That okay, customer satisfaction needs to be improved. Let's improve the technology. Solving the technology part will not help. We have to look from multiple lenses like people, process, data. And this is where Accenture comes into play. We have a holistic thinking. We bring on holistic solutions to the problems.
Wow. So at a high level, the problem may seem very simple, but in actuality, it's like identifying different puzzle pieces and bringing them together.
Absolutely. It's not just about identifying the pieces, but also about seeing how these pieces are coming together. And if you actually impact one piece, what's the impact on the other piece, right? So sometimes it becomes like very, very exciting.
Can you give me an example, a real life example of this big picture thinking in action where you may have solved one of these multidimensional problems?
Absolutely. I was consulting one of the retail organizations, and they have got this peculiar problem of outdated systems. And because of these outdated systems, the costs were really high. They were not able to modernize it because for that modernization, they will need to have some bit of an investment. It was also hampering their, I will say, innovation. We came up with an innovative solution. What we said was, we don't want to kind of like go with a big bang approach. Let's start small. Let's start to identify some of the initiatives which can be implemented through which you can reduce the cost. And then with the cost which has been reduced, you can actually reinvest it right into modernization initiatives. In essence, what we created was a self-funded model whereby the savings from one particular phase was invested into the next set of phase. So ultimately, if you look at it over a period of time, it helped solve three basic problems, right? One was definitely it was able to reduce the cost. Second thing, modernize the application landscape. And most importantly, it was able to unlock innovation for the clients, right? So again, this is how we kind of like approach these big transformations. We start small, but then we kind of like invest into the transformations.
Absolutely. And from the example that you gave, it seems like consultants are not just limited to strategy, but they help all the way through execution. Is that right?
Absolutely, and this has actually become a reality in the coming in the last few years. We help shape the strategies, we design the solution, we work with the technology teams to actually implement them, right? And then sometimes it's also about helping them run it with the clients. So we actually looked into end to end, right? Because that's what builds trust with the client, and that's what creates the value for the client in the long run.
Wow. But say for someone starting new in consulting, that may seem a little overwhelming. So for someone starting new, how do you ease them into their work?
Yeah. So again, there are like multiple ways. One is there are so many structured learning programs which are there, right? With Accenture, there are like functional trainings, technical trainings, there are domain specific training, and so on and so forth. But along with that, there is also concept of learning on the job, because within weeks of joining Accenture, You will be put into projects. You'll face real life challenges, right? And this is where you learn on the job, right? And apart from that, we have got a lot of mentors. People, the seniors within the organization who can actually guide you, help you, mentor you, right, in your journey to becoming a great consultant.
Oh, so while they're learning on the job, they're also contributing to the work. And I know training must play an important role considering how the field is constantly evolving. And you mentioned about these new technologies like generative AI, agentic AI. How do you feel these new technologies are changing the game for consultants?
Fundamentally, it's still the same. It's still about problem solving. But now technology or say generative AI is becoming a great enabler. With the help of generative AI, agentic AI tools, we are able to fasten the processes, right? For example, doing research, creating PowerPoint presentations, building proposals, right? All these things can be expedited. It can be done in a matter of hours, not days or weeks.
Before we wrap up, one final question, Karan. What advice would you give to someone who's considering a career in consulting?
One is basically learning to learn. The world is changing so fast. There are new technologies coming day in and day out. So explore, take out different tools, right? Create agents and try to solve problems with that. Second thing I will say is, again, I think we touched upon it, which is a big picture holistic thinking. So for example, tomorrow client is coming to us and saying, okay, can AI help me solve the problem? The answer should not be yes. We have to think broad. Do we have the right set of systems which can support AI? Do we have the data which can enable AI, right? Do we have the right set of people who understands AI and so on and so forth? And more importantly, are we having a governance structure which can help organizations to actually use AI in an effective manner, right? And then I think the final word I will say is that having a value creator mindset. When I say having a value creator mindset, it's essentially basically boils down to, are you leaving the client in a better position as compared to when you started off with, right? Value could be in terms of giving them a template, giving them a strategic direction, helping them reduce the cost, or for that matter, say improving the efficiency for them. So I think those are the 2 or 3 elements I will say, which the consultants should be keeping in mind.
That was really great. Thank you so much, Karan, for your time and for your invaluable insights. So, to summarize today's episode, consulting goes beyond problem solving. It's about shaping change, it's about helping businesses make smarter decisions to reinvent, and it's about enabling them drive their business with more clarity and confidence. We've got more insightful episodes lined up. In episode 2, we'll uncover the attributes that make today's consultants true reinventors. Thank you so much. See you next time.